Let's see. Next. All right. My friend Gore writes, do you give your wife Benadryl so that she falls asleep and you can work? No, I don't. I just bore her to tears talking about this shit. She falls asleep, and then I work. Um, my poor wife. She puts up with my long hours writing. She puts up with my self-doubt. She puts up with my frustration. She puts up with my attending cons and the financial stress that has. She puts up with the roller coaster ride that is comics. And without her support, I would have been just a puddle a long time ago, an emotional wreck, and I never would have even attempted to publish anything. Um, so I, owe her a metric shit ton for my comics career. So no, I just bore her to death. Then she falls asleep. Then I write. Jeff McComsey, another amazing artist who you all should know of, and if you don't, look up American Terror and Fubar and Bloody Pulp immediately, because Jeff is going to be a coming force in comics, and that's not bullshit. I mean, when Jeff breaks out, Jeff's going to break out big, and I'm going to be very, very privileged to say that I knew him. If he still talks to me, I'll be even more privileged, and if he works with me, then I'm golden. Jeff says, how do you find and choose artists for your projects? I network with a lot of artists. I talk to as many artists as I can because I love art. I appreciate art. Mainly because I can't do it. And so I have immense respect for people who can. That shit's hard. And so the more artists I meet, the more ideas I throw around. I've got over a dozen projects going right now. I could have more, but I'm actually trying to scale it back because I'm going to spread myself too thin. But, I meet an artist, I dig their style, and I'll start thinking immediately when I look at their work about, oh man, they would do a really cool fucking sci-fi book or a western or, like a action adventure horror, whatever it is. I'll get inspired by their art, and then I'll start thinking of something, and I'll say, it's just a matter of, hey, I have this idea, and I really dig your art, and I think you'd be perfect for it. If we hit it off and that works, awesome. Sometimes it doesn't, but that's how it goes. It's still cool. And I always keep people in mind. I always try and get pinups. I always want to promote artists because I know how hard self-promotion is. And if you have somebody else, if you have a third-party endorsement, that's like public relations. I'm getting into fucking marketing speak now because I worked in it. But if you get a third-party endorsement, that goes a long way. That means a lot to people. That's not, anybody can say, hey, look at me, I'm awesome. If somebody else says, hey, look at them, they're awesome, that kind of, holds a little more validity. So I try to do that with artists as much as I can. And if I can get them to do a cover, if I can get them to do a pinup for a book, if I can just throw links out there for their work or whatever, then I feel like I'm contributing to comics as a whole that much more. So that's what I try to do, and when you do that, you build relationships, and then you have friends, and and then you have people that you work with. So I try to think of artist styles that go along with my work, not just anything. But I also want to challenge them a little bit. I don't want, if somebody's just drawing fucking dragons and dragons and dragons and dragons, I may be like, hey, I have this really cool idea. Now my fucking phone's ringing. I have this really cool idea for a book with dragons, but I'm gonna like set it in fucking Tokyo in the year 2025, where it's all skyscrapers and shit, and then there's dragons. You know what I mean? So just so it kind of pushes them a little bit. So that's how we do that. Let's see. My friend Rolf, another amazing artist, he did Massive Awesome #1, says, when you write, what's your routine and what time of day do you think you do your best work? Kind of touched on this a little bit before. Time of day I do my best work is when I don't have time to write, to be honest. So that lunch hour where I don't have a lot of time to write, I think I write some of my best stuff because I can't afford to get distracted by other shit. I need to get out what I'm trying to get out, or it's going to be gone, and that fire that's lit under my ass is very, very motivating. That being said, there's times where it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing some of my best stuff. It all depends on the inspiration. When that strikes, when when I can sit down, um, when it's not family time, and I've got 2 kids, a wife, a day job, time to write is a precious commodity. Um, so I kind of just snag it wherever I can.